Hi, it is still September 13th. We're still trying to finish up a few chores before it gets dark. My wife and I had a deal. When it was time for me to turn the compost pile, she'd get tired of the compost bucket and she'd come out and start dumping it. Now, if you remember how high this compost pile was, you can gauge off the top of the fence how far this compost pile has shrunk down. It shrunk down quite a little bit. She got tired of looking at the compost bucket. And today's that day. Nah, we have a pretty good system worked out. I got a couple reasons why I haven't turned this yet. I'm not using the compost this fall to pot anything. I've been using all the excess grass to mulch out the garden. So today, did quite a little bit of mowing. I got some new green, and we'll go ahead and turn this pile. Compost, the fourth turning. Thanks for coming. Now, once in a while, procrastination has its benefits. What I mean by that is the other day, I was out mowing, I didn't have a chance to pick it up. Kind of turned brown. A week or so later, I went out and mowed again. That gives you a nice little mixture of brown and green. So that's been my new trick. I'm gonna mow. I told my wife that's the reason I'm not picking up the grass, is so that I can make a better compost pile. It actually is a pretty good trick. Summer ends, trees get a little stressed, they're dropping a few leaves. You get some leaves in here too. So what you mow up, you've got a nice first layer, nice mixture of brown and green. For this video, the fourth turning, I'm going to go ahead and start with a nice layer of this. We're going to carefully remove the tops and sides of the compost pile and make sure that they're right down in the middle so they get good and cooked this time. Come on, let's compost. This is all fresh from today, so I'm just going to rake some out. Get a nice little layer going here. The outside corner, we want it to heat up good too. Being very deliberate, I do not want to mix the good compost in yet. You'll see when we open it up. Get a little more of this top off. Now that's a pretty good pile. Now let's go ahead and cover that with some fresh cut grass. Bet you it does a trick. All right, now let's see what the cooked compost looks like. It's still got some organic matter in it. This top still has some bigger organic pieces, but it's cooking down nicely. That stuff will all disappear shortly. Let's get a layer of brown, green, and then some more of the compost. The one thing you've seen in all the turnings is the paper disappears. I think some of Riley's fur takes a little longer to disappear, but the paper disappears in between each turning. So there's another layer of brown. There you go. Another regulation compost pile. Compost turning, number 4. Now we did have a plan this year on composting. It sort of went awry, but that's gardening. You got to roll with the punches. Gonna try to lay this out a little different next year. Here's the idea. Pre-staged grass clippings, any leaves, any organic matter, any household waste, paper, dog hair, coffee grounds, coffee filters, the whole gamut. Pile it up right here. That'd be stage one. Then have a wall. Make these in bins. This would transfer into the next bin as a turning. Maybe add some more green to it. Pile up the new stuff. Second bin goes into the third bin. This goes into the first bin. So on and so forth. 4 or 5 times going down the length of here. That was the idea. Then we had the critters. Then the fence went up. And that idea kind of went out the window. And then we got the volunteer. Then we got all the volunteer vegetables growing in the old mulch pile. And then the fence, that was going to be the side of the mulch pile, turned into a trellis. And again, it's turned into the trellis. So we got to rethink this a little bit. The main reason we actually have the mulch pile right here in the garden, or right next to the garden, because as that breaks down, I like the idea of whatever nutrients is in here leaching out. We're on a slope here. I want that in the garden. I don't want it in some shed over there and I move the mulch. You know, you move the compost over, but all the good stuff stays right there in the ground. I want all that good stuff to stay in the garden. So I may be crazy, but you see what's growing, you see what volunteered, you see how well the squash did, and the new squash is doing. Now that's my theory on composting. We're going to try to have it a little more organized next year. So far it's been working for us. If you find any of this interesting or helpful, please hit the subscribe button. And you want to see us start this compost pile from the very beginning? Hit those videos right there. And until next time, thank you for coming to my garden. God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.